the invasion fleet, the command bridge was filled with loud cheers and victory chants. Commander Zarkoth stood tall in the center, his three eyes gleaming with confidence. Around him, dozens of alien officers celebrated as if they had already won the war. Finally, Zarkoth shouted, raising his clawed hand high in the air. After years of searching, we found the perfect target. On the massive screen in front of them, a small blue planet slowly rotated. It looked peaceful, beautiful, defenseless. "Sir, are you certain about this?" asked Lieutenant Vex, his voice shaking slightly. He held a data tablet in his trembling hands. "The galactic database marks this planet as..." "I know what it says." Zarkoth interrupted with a harsh laugh. "Class-15 Deathworld. What a joke!" He walked closer to the screen, staring at Earth with hungry eyes. "Look at it, Vex. Does that look like a Deathworld to you?" The other officers laughed along with their commander. The planet seemed so calm, so quiet. White clouds drifted over blue oceans. Green forests covered the land. It looked like paradise. "The humans down there," Zarkoth continued, "they have no idea what's coming. Our scouts reported they have primitive weapons. Simple technology. They still use chemical fuel for their vehicles." He slammed his fist on the control panel. "They won't last a single day against our fleet." Vex looked down at his tablet again. His concern grew deeper. "But Commander, the warnings are very clear. This planet has extreme gravity, deadly atmosphere composition, dangerous wildlife, unpredictable weather patterns. Enough!" Zarkoth's voice echoed through the bridge. Everyone fell silent. Those warnings were written by cowards, weaklings who fear everything they don't understand. He turned to face his crew. "We are the Vorten Empire. We have conquered 47 worlds. What is one more?" The crew erupted in cheers again. Their confidence was absolute. Their commander had never failed before. Why would this time be different? "Prepare the invasion fleet," Zarkoth ordered. "All 500 warships. We move in exactly 1 hour." Officers rushed to their stations. The giant warship came alive with activity. Engines powered up. Weapon systems activated. Soldiers prepared for battle. Lieutenant Vex stood quietly in the corner, still reading the warnings on his tablet. His instincts told him something was wrong. Very wrong, but he said nothing more. Who would listen to a junior officer when the great Commander Zarkoth had made his decision? The approach 1 hour later, the invasion fleet moved through space like a swarm of metal insects. 500 ships, each carrying 200 soldiers. 100,000 warriors ready to conquer Earth. Inside the command ship, Zarkoth sat on his throne, watching the screens with satisfaction. "How long until we reach the planet?" he asked. 30 minutes, Commander," an officer replied. "Excellent. Prepare the landing teams. First wave will be 20,000 soldiers. We'll secure the major cities within hours." The fleet moved closer. Earth grew larger on their screens. The blue planet seemed to welcome them with open arms. 20 minutes passed, then the sensors started beeping. "Sir," a young technician called out nervously, "I'm detecting unusual readings." "What kind of readings?" Zarkoth didn't even look up from his battle plans. "The radiation levels near the planet. They're much higher than expected, and the magnetic field is incredibly strong. It's interfering with our navigation systems." "Just adjust the settings." Zarkoth waved his hand dismissively. "Minor technical issues. Nothing more, but the beeping grew louder, more urgent." Another officer stood up, his face turning pale. "Commander, the gravity readings, they can't be correct. The instruments must be malfunctioning." "What do they say?" Zarkoth finally looked up, annoyed. "The surface gravity it's almost twice what we calculated. Our soldiers will feel like they're carrying extra weight. Heavy armor will be nearly impossible to move in." Zarkoth frowned. This was unexpected, but he couldn't show weakness in front of his crew. "Our soldiers are strong. They'll adapt. Continue the approach." The fleet moved even closer. Just 10 minutes away now. Suddenly, every alarm on the bridge started screaming at once. Red lights flashed everywhere. The main screen filled with warning messages. "Warning, extreme danger zone. Warning, lethal radiation detected. Warning, hostile environment. Warning, atmospheric toxins present." The bridge fell completely silent except for the alarms. Every officer stared at the screens in disbelief. Lieutenant Vex's voice broke the silence. It was barely a whisper. "Commander, I tried to warn you. This planet, it's marked Class-15 for a reason." Zarkoth's three eyes widened. For the first time in his military career, he felt something cold creeping up his spine. Fear. On the main screen, Earth rotated peacefully, beautiful and blue, but now Zarkoth saw it differently. It wasn't a paradise, it was a trap, and they were flying straight into it. The landing. The warning alarm still echoed through the command bridge, but Commander Zarkoth refused to show fear. He stood up from his throne and shouted over the noise. "Silence those alarms." His voice was firm, but his hands were shaking. "This changes nothing. We proceed as planned." Lieutenant Vex stepped forward. "Sir, perhaps we should reconsider. The danger levels are beyond anything we've encountered before." "I said we proceed." Zarkoth's eyes burned with anger. "Those warnings are just old data. Exaggerated reports from scared explorers who never even landed on the planet." He pointed at the screen showing Earth. "Look at it. There are cities down there, roads, farms. If humans can live there, so can we." The officers exchanged nervous glances, but no one dared to argue further. Zarkoth had made his decision. "First wave, prepare for landing," he commanded. 20,000 soldiers land in the northern forest region. Establish a base. Show these humans the power of the Vortan Empire. Within minutes, 100 transport ships detached from the main fleet. They descended through space toward Earth's atmosphere. Inside each ship, 200 alien soldiers checked their weapons and armor, ready for an easy victory. Captain Drax led the first landing team. He was a veteran warrior who had fought in 30 battles. As his ship entered Earth's atmosphere, he felt the vibration increase. "Just atmospheric turbulence," he told his nervous troops. "Nothing to worry about." But the shaking grew worse, much worse. The ship's metal hull groaned under pressure. Several soldiers fell from their seats. Equipment crashed to the floor. "What's happening?" a young soldier shouted. "The atmospheric pressure," the pilot yelled back. "It's crushing the hull. This planet's air is too thick." The ship struggled to maintain control as it descended. Finally, with a violent crash, it landed in a forest clearing. The impact threw everyone forward. Several soldiers were injured immediately. "Everyone out," Captain Drax ordered. "Secure the perimeter." The doors opened. The soldiers stepped out onto Earth for the first time. Welcome to hell. For a moment, everything seemed fine. The forest was beautiful. Tall trees surrounded them. Green grass covered the ground. Birds sang in the distance. "See?" one soldier laughed. "This isn't so bad. The warnings were fake." Then they tried to walk. "Ugh." A soldier fell to his knees. Why is everything so heavy?" "It's the gravity," another soldier gasped, struggling to stand. "I feel like I'm carrying 3 times my weight." Their advanced armor, which felt light on their home planet, now crushed down on them like chains. Each step required tremendous effort. Some soldiers couldn't stand at all. Captain Drax forced himself to stay upright. "Adapt quickly. We're soldiers, not children." But the gravity was just the beginning. Private Kelm, curious and foolish, reached out to touch a pretty flower growing nearby. It had bright red petals and looked harmless. The moment his finger touched it, the plant released a cloud of yellow dust. Kelm screamed. His hand started smoking. The skin melted away. The poison spread up his arm. Within seconds, he collapsed, convulsing on the ground. His screams filled the forest. "Medic!" Drax shouted. "Someone help him!" But there was nothing they could do. 20 seconds later, Kelm stopped moving. He was dead. Everyone stared in horror at the innocent-looking flower. "Don't touch anything," Drax ordered. "Not the plants, not the trees, nothing." But it was too late to save them all. A soldier leaned against a tree to rest. The bark released acid that burned through his armor. Another soldier knelt in the grass. Tiny insects, invisible to the naked eye, crawled into his suit and bit him. Their venom stopped his heart in minutes. "This place is trying to kill us," someone screamed. Drax activated his communicator. "Command, we have a situation. The environment is extremely hostile. We've lost 12 soldiers in the first 5 minutes. Before Zarkoth could respond, the sky suddenly changed. Nature's fury dark clouds appeared from nowhere. The temperature dropped 20 degrees in seconds. Wind began to howl through the trees. "What's happening to the weather?" a soldier shouted. Rain started falling, but this wasn't normal rain. Each drop hit like a small stone. The water was so pure, so different from their home planet, that it burned their skin like acid. Lightning cracked across the sky. Thunder boomed so loud that several soldiers' ear membranes burst. Then the wind picked up speed. "Hold on to something," Drax screamed. A tornado formed in the distance. It moved toward them with terrifying speed. Soldiers tried to run, but the heavy gravity made them slow. The tornado caught them easily. 3 soldiers were lifted into the air and thrown like toys. Their screams faded as they disappeared into the clouds. The survivors huddled together, desperately trying to protect themselves. More transport ships were landing nearby, but they faced the same horrors. Across the landing zone, soldiers were dying in dozens of different ways. Poisonous plants, venomous insects, sudden storms, extreme temperature changes. In just 2 hours, 200 soldiers were dead. 800 more were injured or sick. Commander Zarkoth watched the reports flood in from orbit. His face had turned pale. "This can't be happening," he whispered. "How is this possible?" The hunters arrive, then through the chaos and death, Captain Drax heard something that made his blood freeze. Footsteps. Slow, steady footsteps approaching through the deadly forest. "Defensive positions," he ordered his remaining troops. "The humans are coming!" The surviving soldiers raised their weapons, hands shaking. They could barely stand in the crushing gravity. Their armor was damaged. Many were injured or sick from the environment. Through the trees, figures appeared. Humans. But these weren't the weak creatures Zarkoth had described. These humans walked through the poisonous forest as if it were a pleasant garden. The deadly plants didn't harm them. The insects didn't bite them. The extreme weather didn't slow them down. They moved with ease, comfortable in the heavy gravity that crushed the aliens. One human, a female soldier, stopped 20 meters away. She looked at the struggling aliens with curiosity, not fear. "You picked the wrong planet," she said simply. Captain Drax stared in disbelief. How are you surviving here? This place is killing us." The human smiled. It wasn't a cruel smile. It was almost sad. "Surviving," she repeated. "We're not just surviving, alien. We were born here. We grew up here. This nightmare you're experiencing." She spread her arms wide. "This is our home." Behind her, more humans appeared, hundreds of them. They carried simple weapons, basic rifles, nothing compared to the aliens' advanced technology, but they didn't need advanced weapons. They had Earth on their side. Drax realized with growing horror, they weren't fighting just human soldiers. They were fighting the entire planet, and they were losing. The impossible truth, Captain Drax couldn't believe what he was seeing. The human soldiers stood calmly in the deadly forest, breathing the toxic air like it was nothing. Rain poured down on them, but they didn't scream in pain. The crushing gravity that made his own soldiers fall didn't affect them at all. "This is impossible," Drax whispered. "No species can adapt to such extreme conditions." The female human soldier took a step closer. Her boots crushed the poisonous plants beneath her feet without any protection. "You aliens always make the same mistake," she said. "You see our planet from space and think it looks beautiful and safe." She pointed at the deadly forest around them. "You don't understand. Earth doesn't want us here. It never did." Another human soldier, an older man with scars on his face, joined her. "We didn't choose to live on a death world," he explained. "We evolved here. Every generation that survived became stronger, tougher, more resistant to poison and disease." He smiled grimly. "Earth tried to kill our ancestors for millions of years. But we're still here." Drax raised his weapon, but his arms shook from exhaustion. The heavy gravity made even this simple action feel impossible. "Stay back," We have superior technology, superior weapons. Do you? The female soldier looked amused. She nodded to her troops. The human soldiers raised their rifles. They were old-fashioned projectile weapons, primitive compared to the aliens' laser guns and plasma rifles. The Vortan soldiers almost laughed. That's your best weapon? One alien mocked. We have energy shields. Your bullets can't hurt us. The human commander smiled. You're right. Our guns are primitive, but let me show you something interesting about Earth technology. She pulled out a small grenade. This is filled with capsaicin. You know what that is? The alien stared blankly. It's extracted from chili peppers. Plant that grows on Earth. Humans eat it for fun. We put it in our food because we enjoy the burning sensation. She pulled the pin. Let's see how you like it. She threw the grenade into the middle of the alien formation. The battle begins. The grenade exploded with a soft pop. Red mist spread through the air. Immediately the alien soldiers started screaming. The capsaicin, harmless to humans, attacked their respiratory systems like acid. Their eyes burned. Their lungs felt like they were on fire. Soldiers collapsed, gasping for air that wouldn't come. Gas masks. Drax shouted desperately. Put on your masks. But the damage was done. Half his troops were already down, writhing in agony from what humans considered a food ingredient. The human soldiers didn't wait. They charged forward. Despite their primitive weapons, they moved with terrifying speed and strength. The heavy gravity that crippled the aliens was normal for humans. They had trained in it their entire lives. A human soldier ran straight at a Vortan warrior twice his size. The alien fired his plasma rifle, but the human dodged with incredible agility. Before the alien could fire again, the human punched him in the chest. The force of the blow crushed the alien's armor inward. The Vortan flew backward 3 meters and didn't get up. How is he so strong? An alien soldier screamed, "It's the gravity!" Another realized. Their muscles developed in this crushing environment. They're naturally stronger than us. Another human soldier, a young woman who looked barely 20 years old, grabbed a rock from the ground. It was the size of a basketball. She lifted it easily above her head and threw it. The rock flew like a missile. It hit an alien soldier's helmet, cracking it open instantly. On the alien's home planet, that same rock would have been too heavy for 3 soldiers to lift together. Here on Earth, a human child could throw it. Captain Drax watched his troops fall one by one. "Retreat to the ships," he ordered. "We need to regroup." But retreating was harder than fighting. Earth's army as. The aliens tried to run back to their crashed ships. The forest itself seemed to turn against them. The human commander raised her hand and whistled. It was a sharp, piercing sound. From the trees, animals emerged. Wolves appeared first. On Earth, they were just normal predators. But to the aliens, these creatures were monsters. Each wolf weighed as much as an alien soldier, with jaws strong enough to crush metal. They had evolved to hunt in Earth's heavy gravity. The wolves attacked without fear. They jumped on alien soldiers, their teeth tearing through armor that was supposed to withstand laser fire. "Shoot them!" Drax screamed. "Shoot the animals." The aliens fired their weapons wildly. Some wolves fell, but more kept coming. Bears emerged from the forest. On Earth, a grizzly bear was already dangerous. To aliens struggling in the heavy gravity, they were unstoppable killing machines. One bear swatted an alien soldier with its paw. The soldier flew 10 meters and crashed into a tree. Every bone in his body shattered on impact. "This is madness," an alien screamed. "What kind of planet creates such monsters?" A human soldier overheard him. "Monsters?" He laughed. "These are just regular animals. You should see what lives in our oceans." The aliens tried to use their advanced technology. They activated energy shields. They fired plasma grenades. They called for air support, but Earth itself fought against their technology. The planet's strong magnetic field interfered with their equipment. Shields flickered and failed. Communication devices produced only static. Targeting systems went haywire. Meanwhile, the humans' simple technology worked perfectly. Their basic radios functioned fine. Their mechanical weapons never jammed. Their simple tactics, developed over thousands of years of human warfare, were devastatingly effective. The crushing realization Captain Drax finally reached his transport ship. Only 30 of his original 200 soldiers made it back with him. The rest were dead or dying in the forest. He collapsed in the pilot's seat, gasping for breath. His body felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Every muscle screamed in pain. "Get us off this planet," he ordered weakly. "Lift off immediately." The pilot pressed the controls. Nothing happened. "Sir, the engines won't start. The atmospheric pressure is too high. The moisture in the air is corroding our systems. Everything is failing." Drax felt his hope die. "We're trapped." "Yes, sir." Outside, the human soldiers surrounded the ship. They didn't attack. They just waited. Patient, calm. They had all the time in the world. Drax activated his communicator, hoping to reach Commander Zarkoth in orbit. Static filled his ears, but finally a weak connection formed. "Commander," Drax's voice cracked. "We need immediate evacuation. The mission is a failure. This planet, it's not just dangerous, it's designed to kill anything that doesn't belong here." From orbit, Zarkoth watched in horror as reports flooded in from all the landing sites. Out of 20,000 soldiers who landed in the first wave, over 15,000 were already dead. The rest were trapped, unable to escape. "How?" Zarkoth whispered. "How can primitive humans defeat our advanced military?" Lieutenant Vex spoke quietly from behind him. "Because we're not fighting humans, Commander. We're fighting evolution itself." He pointed at the screen showing Earth. Every animal on that planet evolved to survive in extreme conditions. The humans are the apex predators. They climb to the top of the food chain on a world that actively tries to kill everything. Zarkoth slammed his fist on the console. "Prepare the second wave. We'll send 50,000 soldiers. We'll overwhelm them with numbers." "Sir, no," Vex protested. "We'll just be sending more soldiers to their deaths." But Zarkoth wasn't listening. His pride wouldn't let him accept defeat. On the surface, Captain Drax heard the order through his failing communicator. More troops were coming. He looked out the window at the human soldiers waiting patiently outside. They weren't celebrating their victory. They weren't cheering. They just stood there, calm and ready. One human made eye contact with Drax through the window. The human shook his head slowly, almost sadly. The message was clear. "You should have stayed away." Drax realized the horrible truth. The humans weren't even trying their hardest. They were just defending their home using the most basic tactics, and they were winning easily. What would happen when they actually started fighting seriously? The second wave commander Zarkoth stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching 50 transport ships descend toward Earth. This time, he had sent 50,000 soldiers, elite warriors, the best the Vortan Empire had to offer. They will succeed where the first wave failed, Zarkoth told himself, but his voice lacked confidence. His hands gripped the armrest of his throne so tightly that his claws dug into the metal. Lieutenant Vex stood silently nearby, watching the doomed soldiers descend. He had stopped arguing. There was no point anymore. On the surface, the second wave landed in multiple locations. Mountains, deserts, plains, jungles. The item I. Commanders thought spreading out would give them an advantage. They were wrong. Each environment brought new horrors. In the desert, alien soldiers discovered that Earth's sun was far more intense than they had calculated. Their armor heated up like ovens. Within an hour, dozens of soldiers died from heat stroke. The sand itself seemed alive, shifting beneath their feet, hiding venomous scorpions and snakes. In the mountains, the thin air made breathing almost impossible. The extreme cold froze their equipment solid. Avalanches buried entire platoons without warning, but the jungle landing was the worst. Nightfall, Captain Drax and his surviving 30 soldiers watched from their disabled ship as the second wave landed nearby. Fresh troops poured out of the transports, confident and ready for battle. "Fools," Drax whispered. "They have no idea." A second wave commander, General Throck, approached Drax's ship with 500 soldiers. He pounded on the hull. "Captain Drax, open this door." "Why are you hiding?" Drax slowly opened the door. He looked like a broken man. His armor was damaged. His eyes were hollow with fear. "General, you need to evacuate immediately," Drax said. "Before night falls," Throck laughed. "Night? You're afraid of the dark, Captain?" "I expected better from a veteran." He gestured to his troops. "We are prepared for anything. We have thermal vision, night scopes, floodlights." "You don't understand," Drax pleaded. "During the day, this planet is deadly. At night, it becomes pure hell. But Throck had already turned away, leading his troops into the jungle. Drax watched the sun setting on the horizon. He sealed the ship's door and told his soldiers, "Don't make any noise. Don't turn on any lights, and pray to whatever gods you believe in." As darkness fell over the jungle, the temperature dropped rapidly. Within minutes, it went from 30 degrees to near freezing. General Throck's soldiers started shivering. "Why is it so cold?" one asked. "It was burning hot an hour ago." "Adjust your suit's heating system," Throck ordered. The soldiers activated their thermal regulators. But the systems, already damaged by Earth's harsh environment, began failing one by one. Soldiers huddled together for warmth, their teeth chattering. Then they heard the sounds, growls in the darkness. Movement in the trees, eyes reflecting their flashlight beams. What was that? A young soldier whispered. "Defensive formation," Throck commanded. "Lights on full power." They turned on their floodlights, illuminating the jungle around them. What they saw made their blood freeze. The predators, dozens of pairs of eyes, stared back at them from the darkness. Tigers, leopards, jaguars, panthers, all the apex predators of Earth's jungles had come out to hunt. On Earth, these animals were already dangerous, but the aliens, weakened by gravity, exhausted from fighting the environment all day, and half frozen from the cold, were easy prey. A tiger stepped into the light. It was massive, each muscle rippling beneath its striped fur. It had evolved to hunt in Earth's crushing gravity. Its jaws could bite through steel. "Shoot it!" Throck screamed. 20 soldiers fired their plasma rifles at once. Several shots hit the tiger, burning its fur. The animal roared in pain and anger, but it didn't die. It didn't even slow down. Instead, it charged. The tiger moved like lightning, covering 30 meters in seconds. It leaped over the front line of soldiers and landed on a warrior in the back. Its jaws closed around the alien's helmet, crushing it like paper. Chaos erupted. More predators attacked from all sides. A leopard dropped from a tree branch, landing on 2 soldiers and knocking them down. Jaguars burst from the bushes, their claws ripping through alien armor. The soldiers fired wildly in all directions. In their panic, they hit each other as much as the animals. The jungle became a nightmare of screams, gunfire, and roaring beasts. General Throck tried to maintain order, but it was impossible. His troops were being hunted like the prey they had become. Then something worse emerged from the darkness. Earth's true hunters. Through the chaos, human soldiers appeared like ghosts. They moved silently between the trees, invisible in the darkness. They had turned off all their lights. They didn't need them. Humans had evolved as persistence hunters. They could track prey for days. They could see in low light. They knew every sound of the jungle, every smell, every movement. The aliens, with all their technology and advanced sensors, were blind in comparison. A human soldier approached an alien who had been separated from his group. The alien spun around, raising his weapon. "Who's there?" the alien shouted. "Show yourself!" The human stepped out from behind a tree, barely visible in the dim light. He carried a simple bow and arrow. Primitive, ancient. The alien almost laughed. "That's your weapon?" "I have a plasma rifle." "Then use it," the human said calmly. The alien fired. The plasma bolt lit up the jungle, but the human had already moved. He was faster, more agile, perfectly adapted to Earth's gravity. His arrow flew through the darkness. It hit the alien's weapon, knocking it from his hands. The second arrow pierced the alien's leg joint, where the armor was weakest. The alien fell, crying out in pain. The human approached slowly. He didn't kill the alien. Instead, he looked down at the wounded soldier with something like pity. "Why did you come here?" the human asked. "Your ships appeared in our sky without warning. Your soldiers attacked our planet without mercy. Did you think we would just surrender?" The alien stared up at him. We thought you were weak. Primitive." "Primitive?" The human knelt down. "Let me teach you something about Earth. Every species here fights to survive every single day. The plants are poisonous because they evolved to kill insects. The insects are venomous because they evolved to fight the plants. The animals hunt each other in an endless cycle. And humans," he stood up, "we survived all of it. We climbed to the top through millions of years of struggle." He pulled out a canteen and drank water. To the alien, it looked like pure acid. Humans could drink water that would kill most alien species. You came to our home, the human continued. You threatened our families, our children. What did you expect would happen? The retreat General Throck stumbled through the jungle, his once mighty army reduced to fewer than 100 soldiers. Behind him, he could hear the screams of those who couldn't keep up. The predators were still hunting. The humans were still tracking them. We need to reach the ships, he shouted. Move faster! But moving faster was impossible. The crushing gravity, the exhaustion, the injuries. Many soldiers simply collapsed and couldn't get up again. Throck finally reached the landing zone where his transport ships waited. He ran toward the nearest one, practically crawling up the ramp. Take off, he screamed at the pilot. Get us off this cursed planet. The pilot tried the controls. General, I can't. The engines are corroded. The humidity destroyed our systems. Throck felt despair crush his heart. They were trapped. He looked out the window and saw human soldiers emerging from the jungle. But they weren't attacking. They were just watching, waiting. One human soldier walked forward carrying a white flag. Throck recognized this from the cultural database. It meant truce, negotiation. The human activated a speaker. Alien Commander, can you hear me? Throck opened a communication channel. I hear you. You have a choice, the human said. Surrender now and we'll let you live. We'll even help repair your ship so you can leave. Or keep fighting and Earth will kill every last one of you. Why would you show us mercy? Throck asked bitterly. We invaded your world. The human was quiet for a moment. Because we're not monsters. We don't enjoy killing. We just protect what's ours. He paused. Besides, we want you to go home and tell your people what happened here. Tell them what happens when you invade a Deathworld. Tell them to never come back. Throck looked around at his broken, defeated army. Out of 50,000 soldiers in the second wave, maybe 5,000 were still alive. He activated his communicator to contact Commander Zarkoth in orbit. Commander. Throck's voice was hollow. Request permission to surrender. We cannot win this fight. This planet. The humans. They're beyond anything we can handle. From orbit, Zarkoth heard similar reports from all landing sites. Mountains, deserts, plains, jungles, everywhere. His forces were being destroyed, not by advanced weapons. Not by superior technology, but by the planet itself and the creatures that called it home. Lieutenant Vex spoke quietly. Commander, we must retreat. We've lost 70,000 soldiers. If we send more, we'll lose them too. Zarkoth stared at Earth on the screen, the beautiful blue planet that had seemed like such an easy target. How could we be so wrong? He whispered. The message home commander Zarkoth sat alone in his command chamber, staring at the communication device in front of him. His hands trembled as he reached for the controls. He had to send a message back to the Vortan homeworld, back to the High Council, back to the Emperor himself. But what could he say? How could he explain this disaster? He pressed the button. The holographic projector activated, recording his message. This is Commander Zarkoth of the invasion fleet, he began, his voice barely above a whisper. I am sending this message to warn all Vortan forces, to warn the entire Galactic Empire. He paused, struggling to find words. We have failed. The invasion of Earth has failed completely. He pulled up the casualty reports on a screen beside him. The numbers were devastating. We sent 100,000 soldiers to the surface. Elite warriors, the best our empire has ever produced. His voice cracked. Fewer than 10,000 are still alive, and most of those are wounded, sick, or broken. He displayed images from the surface. Destroyed ships, soldiers being hunted by Earth's animals, humans walking calmly through environments that killed aliens in minutes. We were not defeated by advanced technology, Zarkoth continued. We were not outgunned or outmaneuvered by superior tactics. We were defeated by the planet itself. He looked directly into the camera. Earth is marked as a Class-15 Deathworld. I thought this was an exaggeration, a myth. I was wrong. His three eyes filled with something no one had ever seen before. Tears. Never attack Earth, he said firmly. Never land on that planet. Never threaten the humans. They are not like us. They evolved in hell itself, and they became stronger than anything we can imagine. He ended the recording and transmitted it across the galaxy, to every Vortan military base, to every exploration ship, to the homeworld itself. Then Zarkoth did something that no Vortan commander had ever done in 500 years of conquest. He surrendered. The prisoners on Earth's surface. Human soldiers gathered the surviving aliens in a secured area. Medical tents were set up. Human doctors wearing protective suits began treating the wounded aliens. General Throck watched in confusion as a human medic carefully bandaged his injured leg. The same humans who had hunted them through the jungle were now saving their lives. "Why are you helping us?" Throck asked. "We came to conquer your world, to enslave your people." The human doctor, an older woman with gray hair, looked at him calmly. "Because that's what we do. We help those who need help, even our enemies." She finished wrapping the bandage. "Besides, you never had a chance. You were doomed the moment you entered our atmosphere." Captain Drax, who had survived the nightmare in the jungle, sat nearby. A young human soldier brought him food and water. Drax stared at the meal suspiciously. "It's not poisoned," the human said, noticing his hesitation. "Though I should warn you, it might taste strange. Human food is pretty intense for most aliens." Drax carefully took a bite. His eyes widened in shock. The food was incredibly spicy. His mouth felt like it was on fire. He gasped and grabbed the water, drinking desperately. The human soldier smiled. "Yeah, that's mild by our standards. We add capsaicin to almost everything we eat. You know, the same chemical that nearly killed your troops during the battle." Drax stared at him in disbelief. "You eat poison?" "For pleasure? We eat lots of things that would kill you," the human replied. "Alcohol, caffeine, chocolate, all of them are toxic to most alien species. To us, they're just normal food." Another alien soldier nearby overheard this. "What kind of species are you?" The human thought for a moment. "We're survivors. Earth spent millions of years trying to kill us. Poisonous plants, deadly animals, extreme weather, diseases, parasites, natural disasters." He shrugged. "But we refused to die. We adapted. We evolved. We became the planet's apex predator. But how?" Drax asked desperately. "How can you survive such terrible conditions?" "We don't just survive," the human corrected. "We thrive. Want to know something funny? Humans actually get bored if life is too easy. We climb mountains for fun. We jump out of airplanes for entertainment. We dive into oceans filled with predators as a hobby." The alien stared at him like he was insane. "Your species," another alien whispered, "is not normal." The human laughed. "No, we're really not. But that's what happens when you evolve on a death world. You either die or become something that can't be killed." The departure, 3 days later. Human engineers had helped repair the alien ships. It wasn't easy. Earth's environment had corroded most of their systems, but humans were excellent problem solvers. They had to be. Commander Zarkoth stood in the landing zone, watching his defeated army board the transport ships. Out of 100,000 soldiers, only 8,000 were leaving alive. The rest would remain on Earth forever, buried in the soil of the planet that killed them. A human general approached Zarkoth. She was the same woman who had led the defense in the jungle. Her uniform was simple. Her weapon was basic, but Zarkoth now understood that she was far more dangerous than she appeared. "Your ships are ready," she said. "You're free to leave." Zarkoth looked at her with a mixture of fear and respect. "You could kill us all. Why let us go?" "Because we're not conquerors," she replied. "We don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want to be left alone." She stepped closer. "But understand this clearly. If any alien species attacks Earth again, the outcome will be the same. This planet will destroy them, and next time, we won't show mercy." Zarkoth nodded slowly. "I will make sure everyone knows. Earth is forbidden territory." "Good." The human general turned to leave, then stopped. "One more thing. You asked how we survived on this planet. Want to know the real answer?" "Yes," Zarkoth said. "We didn't just survive Earth," she said quietly. "Earth created us. Every poison made us develop immunity. Every predator made us smarter and faster. Every disaster made us more resilient. Earth is not our enemy. Earth is our parent. It raised us to be strong." She smiled slightly. "You can't conquer Earth. Earth already conquered us millions of years ago, and we conquered it right back." With those words, she walked away. Zarkoth boarded his flagship and gave the order. The fleet began leaving Earth's orbit. As the planet grew smaller behind them, Zarkoth recorded one final message. "Galactic Council," he began. "I am officially requesting that Earth be declared a forbidden zone. No ship should approach it. No contact should be attempted. The humans are to be left completely alone." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "They call their planet home. We call it hell. Both descriptions are accurate." The legend 6 months later, on the other side of the galaxy, the Galactic Council convened an emergency meeting. Representatives from 100 different alien species gathered to discuss the failed invasion of Earth. The Emperor of the Vortan Empire stood before them. His pride shattered, but his voice strong. "I come before you today to admit a terrible mistake," he announced. "We attempted to invade a Class-15 Deathworld. We believe the classification was an exaggeration. We were catastrophically wrong." He displayed footage from the invasion. Alien soldiers dying from Earth's environment. Humans walking calmly through conditions that killed trained warriors. Animals hunting advanced military forces like prey. The council chamber fell silent. Every alien representative watched in horror. "What are these humans?" someone asked. "What kind of species can survive on such a planet?" An old scientist from the Krillian species stood up. He had studied Earth from a distance for decades. "The humans are unique in the galaxy," he explained. "Most intelligent species evolved on gentle worlds, stable climates, abundant resources, minimal threats." He pulled up an image of Earth. Humans evolved in constant danger. They survived by becoming adaptable, resilient, relentless. "Are they a threat to the galaxy?" another representative asked nervously. "Only if we threaten them first," the scientist replied. "From what we've observed, humans are actually quite peaceful. They don't seek to conquer other worlds. They're happy staying on their Deathworld home." He paused. "But if you attack them, they will defend themselves with a ferocity we cannot match." The council voted unanimously. Earth was declared a galactic forbidden zone. Any ship that approached the planet would be considered hostile to the entire galactic community. New regulations were created. No military vessels within 50 light-years of Earth, no contact with humans without approval from the entire council, no. Weapons testing near human territory. Violation of these rules would result in immediate military response. From all council species, the warning. The story of Earth's invasion spread throughout the galaxy like wildfire. It became a legend, a cautionary tale, a nightmare that parents told their children to teach them humility. "Never underestimate a species from a death world," the story said. "They survived conditions that would kill us in minutes. They adapted to environments we can't even imagine. They are not weak because they lack advanced technology. They are strong because they don't need it." In military academies across the galaxy, the failed invasion became required study. Young officers learned about Commander Zarkoth's mistakes. They studied how Earth's environment defeated advanced technology. They memorized the lesson. Power means nothing if you can't use it. On Earth, life continued as normal. Most humans never knew how close they had come to war. The governments kept it quiet. No panic, no fear, just careful watching of the skies. But in the military headquarters, in the secret bases, human leaders prepared. They knew the aliens would return someday. Maybe not to attack, but to test, to observe, to learn. And humanity would be ready, because Earth had taught them the most important lesson of all: never stop fighting, never stop adapting, never stop surviving. Final scene. In a small human school, a teacher told her students a story. "Once upon a time," she began, "aliens came from the stars. They had incredible ships and powerful weapons. They thought Earth would be easy to conquer." "What happened?" a young student asked. The teacher smiled. "Earth reminded them why we call it home. The gravity that makes us strong, the weather that taught us to adapt, the plants and animals that made us clever. All the things that made life hard for our ancestors made us into something special." "Are the aliens going to come back?" another student worried. "Maybe," the teacher said honestly. "But if they do, they'll remember what happened last time. They'll remember that Earth is not just our home. It's our fortress, our training ground, our parent and our protector." She looked out the window at the blue sky, white clouds and green forests. "They called us weak because we don't have laser guns," she continued. They called us primitive because our technology is simple, but they forgot the most important thing. What's that? The students asked together. The teacher's smile grew wider. We don't need advanced weapons. We are the weapon. Millions of years of evolution created us. Earth forged us in fire and ice, in poison and pain, in struggle and survival. We are humanity. She turned back to her students. And there is nothing in the galaxy more dangerous than a human defending their home. Outside, life on Earth continued. Humans went to work. Children played in parks. People lived their normal lives on the most dangerous planet in the known galaxy. And somewhere in the stars above, alien ships watched from a safe distance. They had learned their lesson. Never invade a Class-15 Deathworld. Never underestimate humanity. Never forget Earth. The end.